Ever feel like just trying to keep up with all the big changes happening around us is like drinking from a fire hose?
Yeah, it can be totally overwhelming. Like you're constantly bombarded with information,
Yeah.
but not really getting anywhere.
That's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today, trying to cut through the noise and focus on what really matters.
Exactly.
We're taking a close look at this brand new white paper. It's called The Amazing Speed of Knowledge: How AI is Changing Everything. And it just dropped today from EON Reality.
Fresh off the presses.
So for anyone who may not know, EON Reality, they're leading the charge in AI-assisted VR and AR, specifically for knowledge transfer in industry and education.
Yep, they're really pushing the boundaries there.
And I think our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear.
What's that?
Well, we want to pull out those key insights,
Right.
about how fast things are changing because of AI, and see how EON Reality is responding to it all.
Definitely. So to jump right in, the white paper starts with a statement from Dan Lajerskar, EON Reality's chairman. And he talks about a fundamental shift in how we interact with information, how we work, even how society functions as a whole.
That's not just some small tweak, then. We're talking a real transformation.
It's a revolution, really. And they've identified 7 key dimensions of this transformation that they explore in the white paper.
7. Okay, we've got some unpacking to do.
Definitely. But they're all connected. They all feed into each other.
So where do they start drilling down into these changes?
Well, the paper starts by talking about what they call the accelerating pace of knowledge.
Okay.
And what's really wild is how AI is like compressing the timeline for discoveries, like really shrinking it down. They give this crazy example with protein structure identification.
Okay.
AI has been able to identify over 250 million protein structures in just 2 years.
Wow.
Before AI, that would have taken decades.
That's mind-blowing. What kind of implications are they talking about with that kind of speed?
Oh, tons. Think about drug discovery. That relies heavily on understanding protein structures.
Right.
What used to take decades could now happen in a fraction of the time. Potentially way faster cures and treatments.
Decades to 2 years. So it's not just that things are a little faster. It's a totally different pace.
It's a whole new ballgame. And the paper actually argues that it's not even a steady increase in speed.
Okay.
They talk about this exponential growth pattern. They even mention Huang's law.
Huang's law.
Yeah, it basically says AI capabilities are improving by like 25 times every 5 years.
So where Moore's law was about transistors getting smaller and more packed on a chip, Huang's law is about something else entirely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Huang's law specifically tracks how much better AI processors are getting, specifically GPUs. That's what's driving these huge leaps in performance every 5 years.
So with AI capabilities and knowledge both increasing exponentially, what does that mean for access? Who gets to use all this power?
Well, that's where they talk about the democratization of intelligence.
Right.
The paper is saying that AI is making these capabilities that used to be exclusive to, like, elite institutions with tons of money.
Right.
Accessible to almost everyone at practically no cost.
So tools and abilities that used to be super expensive and limited are now potentially available to anyone with a phone or a laptop.
Precisely. And that could be huge for evening out the playing field when it comes to who gets to participate in, creating knowledge and coming up with new stuff.
Really changes the whole picture, doesn't it? It's not just the big players anymore.
Not at all.
So next, the paper moves on to the physical world transformation. It sounds like that's where AI starts having real world impact.
Exactly. The paper highlights a bunch of examples, like autonomous vehicles.
Self-driving cars, things like that.
Yep. And potentially supersonic travel making a comeback.
Wow.
And AI making manufacturing way more efficient, which could lower costs. They even talk about the possibility of technological deflation, where AI helps optimize how we use resources.
So it's not just about abstract algorithms, it's about how AI changes the things we see and use every day.
Exactly. It's changing the cars we drive, how things are made, even how much things cost.
That's a big deal. Now, you mentioned 7 dimensions total.
Right.
What are some of the other areas the white paper digs into?
2 other really important ones they discuss are the energy knowledge nexus and the governance challenge.
The energy knowledge nexus.
Yeah, so it basically highlights the link between our energy systems and the continued development of AI.
I guess AI needs a ton of computing power, right?
Exactly, and all that power needs energy. So the way we produce and manage energy is going to play a huge role in how AI advances and who actually gets to benefit from it.
So if we're talking about needing massive new energy sources to fuel all this AI, could that create new limitations?
It's definitely a big question.
And what about this governance challenge? That sounds like it has huge societal implications.
It does. As AI gets more sophisticated and knowledge becomes more available, the paper really stresses the need for responsible development.
Right.
Things like ethical frameworks and new safety protocols, making sure that AI is actually benefiting humanity.
Because with any powerful tool, there's always the potential for good and bad, right?
Absolutely.
We need those safeguards. So after laying out all these transformations and challenges, where does the paper see things going in the future?
Well, they talk about the future horizon and point to some really exciting areas for collaboration between humans and AI.
Okay.
Feels like healthcare, energy, education, even space exploration. They're all ripe for breakthroughs.
It sounds like there are some incredible opportunities on the horizon, and I think a lot of our listeners are probably wondering how they can be a part of it.
And the paper actually emphasizes that there will be pathways for individuals to get involved.
That's good to hear. It's not just about these big, abstract changes happening at a distance. There's a role for everyone to play. Now, this white paper comes from EON Reality, so I'm curious about how they fit into this whole thing.
Well, they introduce their approach, which they call Learn, Train, Perform for Future Skills, Jobs, and Income.
Learn, train, perform.
Yeah, it's a three-part strategy to help people thrive in this AI-driven world.
Okay, break it down for us.
Sure. Learn is about getting a solid grasp of the fundamental ideas behind AI.
The basics.
Yep. Then Train focuses on developing practical skills that you'll need in a job market that's increasingly shaped by AI.
Makes sense.
And finally, Perform is about actually using those AI-enhanced skills to make things happen, solve problems, and create value, potentially even generating income.
So it's a pretty complete package. Understanding AI, using it practically, and then using it to create something.
Exactly. Learn the basics, train for application, and perform to create value.
And I know the EON-XR platform is a big part of this.
Absolutely. Mats W. Johansson, EON Reality's president, he describes the EON-XR platform as the bridge between, learning and actually applying that knowledge in the real world.
So it's not just about passively taking in information. It's about actually using AI to engage with the world around you. How does EON-XR do that?
Well, the paper outlines 4 dimensions of learning engagement on the platform. First, you've got Learn, which offers stuff like interactive white papers, AI-generated infographics that actually adapt to you as you learn, and then collaborative virtual environments where learning becomes like a social experience.
That was pretty cool.
Then there's Train, which provides these super detailed simulation ecosystems. So you can practice complex stuff, make decisions, explore solutions, all in a safe virtual space.
Simulations are a great way to get hands-on experience without, real-world consequences. What about the other 2 dimensions?
Right. So the third is Perform, and that's all about providing AI support in real-world situations. Like, imagine you're a technician trying to do a complicated repair. With Perform, you can use your device to get real-time AI guidance overlaid on what you're seeing.
So it's almost like having a virtual expert right there with you.
Exactly. And then lastly, there's Assess.
Okay.
It uses competency-based evaluation to actually measure your skills, not just what you've memorized. And it also gives you personalized learning paths that change based on your strengths and weaknesses, so you're always focused on what you need to learn next.
That sounds like a seriously personalized and comprehensive approach to learning and skill development.
It is.
Now, I know that white paper also talks about something called the EON AI for Income Academy.
Yes.
What is that all about?
It's their way of putting all of this into action. It's a 9-month program to take people from a basic understanding of AI to a point where they can actually generate income using it to solve real-world problems.
9 months is a pretty big commitment. What does that actually look like for participants?
So the first month focuses on the basics. Getting familiar with AI tools, understanding the core concepts, seeing how it's used in different fields. Then for the remaining 8 months, participants work on actually applying those skills.
Okay.
They tackle real-world problems of their communities, using AI as a tool to come up with solutions. And what's cool is that the program doesn't just end after 9 months.
Oh, really?
They keep offering support to help participants further develop their projects and figure out ways to make money from them, create some income.
So it's really about empowering people to not just understand AI, but use it to make a real impact.
Exactly. And the paper makes it clear that this academy is designed to be accessible to everyone.
In what way?
Well, for one, it works on smartphones and tablets,
Okay.
so people don't need to buy expensive hardware.
Good.
It's also made to be globally accessible. They have support for multiple languages, and it can even work in places with limited internet access using things like edge computing.
Interesting.
And they've also designed it to be inclusive. So it accommodates different learning styles and abilities to make sure everyone has a chance to benefit.
It really does sound like EON Reality is positioning itself to help people not just survive, but really thrive in this AI-powered future.
That's exactly the point they're making. AI is driving a fundamental shift in how we create and use knowledge.
Right.
And they're not just offering a way to understand it, but actual tools to participate in it.
Okay. So for our listeners who want to check out the white paper themselves, where can they find it?
They can download the whole thing by going to XX. It goes into way more detail about everything we talked about today.
And for those who enjoy these deep dives, check out the EON-XR spoken blog.
Lots more insights and conversations happening over there.
Well, this deep dive into EON Reality's new white paper has really driven home the point that this is a time of incredible change.
Absolutely.
And this change is happening at an amazing speed. It's not just faster computers or fancier algorithms. It's about how we understand and use knowledge itself.
It really is.
And it's touching every single part of our lives.
Every single one.
So here's something to think about. If knowledge is becoming more readily available and growing faster than ever before, how will that impact your own ability to learn and grow?
Right.
What opportunities might open up for you that you never even imagined?
That's a good question.
I think it's an exciting time to be alive, and I'm eager to see what unfolds in the years to come.
Me too. It's going to be wild.